You will die. It's not a metaphor or a distant someday. It's an absolute fact. One day, sooner than you think, your heart will stop, your body will fail, and everything you cling to will slip away. Does that scare you? Perhaps it should, because this is where we begin. Most people can't bear to think about this. They flinch, change the subject, numb themselves with trivialities whenever the thought of death creeps in. But not you. You are here, eyes open, listening. That sets you apart. It means you're ready to face what most run from. Why do you fear death so much? Because you think it's the end of you, the loss of everything and everyone you love, the annihilation of your identity. Your ego clenches at the thought, I don't want to disappear. It feels like the ultimate disaster, the final terror lurking at the end of every path. Maybe you felt it late at night, the sudden chill of realizing that one day you won't wake up, that jolt of panic in your gut, as if the floor dropped beneath you. Maybe you shrugged it off, buried yourself back in the day-to-day, but the fear lingered in the back of your mind, didn't it? A shadow following you. Our society doesn't help. We live as if death is an unspeakable curse, something morbid and abnormal. We push it to the margins, hospitals, cemeteries, behind closed doors, pretending that if we don't see it, it won't come. You've been taught to fear death like the ultimate loss, the thief in the night that will steal everything from you. And it's not just death. It's anything that threatens the ego's sense of control. You fear rejection because it's a little death of your pride. You fear change because it's the death of the familiar. At the core, it's the same fear, the fear of losing what you think is you. So you cling. You cling to your life, to your loved ones, to your routines and beliefs, as if holding on tight could save you. Your mind keeps telling itself a story that if you try hard enough, you can cheat this, you can bargain with fate. But deep down, you know the truth. Everything you hold dear is going to turn to dust. Dust, yes, dust and echoes. 100 years from now, your body will be ash, your name likely forgotten. Look at old photographs of people long gone. They were once as alive and anxious about the future as you are. Now they're portraits on tombstones, memories fading in someone else's mind. Time eventually erases us all. This sounds bleak, doesn't it? Face it, everything about you that you think is so important, so solid, it all vanishes. But stay with me, because within this bleak truth is a liberation so powerful, it terrifies your ego. We're going to crack open that terror and find something transformative inside it. Let's examine what this you is that you are so afraid to lose. Who are you really? A collection of memories, habits, and labels? A personality crafted from stories your mind tells? That image in the mirror with a name attached? You call that you, and you guard it like a dragon hoarding treasure. From the day you were old enough to say your name, you've been constructing this ego. It's like a mask you've worn, adding layer after layer of paint. You wear it to impress, to belong, to feel safe. Over the years, the mask grew thick and hard. Now the thought of having it torn off, of being nothing behind it, makes you tremble. But here is the secret. That mask was never the real you. It's a role you play, a character. Underneath, you are something much less solid, more fluid. Look closely in the mirror sometime. Really stare. Who is looking back? Is it a face? Or is it a presence behind the eyes? Something wordless, boundless, and not scared at all. We live most of our lives as if we're watching ourselves in mirrors and mistaking the reflection of who we are. We chase a certain image, success, attractiveness, significance, only to fear losing it, because then, who would we be? It's a game of shadows. And death? Death blows out the candles lighting that hall of mirrors. So what happens if the mirror shatters? What remains when the persona, the mask, falls away? At glance, it seems like nothing is left. just a void. And that void is exactly what terrifies us. We think it's the abyss of non-existence. We call it death, oblivion, nothingness. Nothingness. The word sends a shiver down your spine. To be nothing, to experience nothing, forever. The mind can't wrap itself around that. You imagine darkness, silence, a terrible emptiness stretching on without end. It feels like cosmic loneliness, like being buried alive in blackness. No wonder you turn away from it. But stop, take a breath and look at this fear. You are afraid of nothing, literally nothing. How can nothing be something that frightens you? It's like a child being afraid of the dark. They're not afraid of darkness itself, but of what they imagine might be lurking in it. We project monsters onto the blank screen of nothingness. Here is a truth Allan Watts loved to remind us of. You can't have an experience of nothing. When you try to imagine being dead, you, as the Imagineer, are still there, picturing gloom. But when death truly comes, there is no one left to say, "I'm in nothingness." No dark room, no eternal jail cell. Just nothing. And you won't be there to miss anything. Think about it. Do you remember what it was like before you were born? All those eons of non-existence. They don't trouble you at all. You weren't sitting in a dark void for billions of years waiting to be born. You just weren't. And then you were. When you die, it might be like that in reverse. You won't experience death any more than you experienced the vast nothingness before life. We fantasize that after death we'll be stuck in a coffin, aware of the worms or drifting alone in a black cosmos. But those are horror stories our ego tells itself to feel important. Like the show must go on, even if it's a nightmare. The reality is simpler and stranger. When you are gone, the world goes on, and you, as you know yourself, cease. There is no problem because there is no you to have a problem. If this sounds depressing, stay with it. Paradoxically, seeing the truth of your non-existence is what can set you free. When the idea of me disappears, even for a moment, there is a profound relief. It's the end of a long fight you didn't realize you were fighting. The fight to keep yourself alive, relevant, secure. Drop that fight, and what happens? What happens is peace, if only for a second. Think of a time you lost yourself, in music, in nature, in a moment of love or creation. For an instant, you weren't aware of you at all, and it felt liberating. You were a part of the experience, not a separate observer. Ego was gone, and yet you were very much alive, more alive than ever. That gives a clue. The thing in you that can die, the ego, is not the thing that truly lives. When your ego dissolves, life doesn't stop, it flows better. The real life in you is something beyond the little me. Call it consciousness, call it the universe moving through you. It's what remains when you get out of your own way. Now we start to see what you are. Not an isolated fragment that vanishes, but an expression of something bigger, like a single wave of the vast ocean. The wave rises and falls, begins and ends, but the water is always there, and every wave is water in motion. You are that water, taking the form of a wave called you for a brief time. When your wave crashes back into the sea, nothing is truly lost. The water doesn't die, it returns to the ocean, ready to rise as a new wave. You mourn the wave's end only because you identified solely with its shape, but the essence was always water. This is you, not the temporary crest, but the depth of the ocean, disguised as a person for a while. Imagine fully realizing that you are the ocean, not the wave. Suddenly, death loses its sting. Yes, the wave will subside, but you, the deeper you, cannot be destroyed. How could you be? You were the ocean all along. The fear of death belongs to the wave that doesn't know its water. Once you know, everything changes. At this point, something quiet but profound shifts inside you. The fear begins to evaporate, replaced by a calm, maybe even awe. If you are not this fragile little ego, if you are something immense and timeless wearing a human mask, what is there to be afraid of? It's like discovering the monster under your bed was just your own discarded coat. You were playing a role in a grand play, immersed in the character, forgetting it was a role. Death is the end of this act, but the actor, the one who takes on all these roles, exists beyond the play. Shakespeare said, "All the world is a stage." Allan would agree. You are not the costume, not the part you played. You are the player. And the player, the actor, doesn't die with the role. This isn't an idea to ponder. It's a truth to feel. Right now, listen to the silence between these words. That silence is not empty. It's pregnant with potential. The space in which everything happens, including your thoughts and this moment, is vast, calm, and alive. That is the nothingness you fear. Not a dead void, but the womb of existence. You've been touching this nothingness all your life. The empty gaps in your thoughts, the quiet nights alone, the space between breaths. That's it. We are like fish describing water as nothing, because we can't see it. Yet it's everywhere around us, supporting us. The nothingness is the backdrop of every experience, the canvas on which life is painted. So what do you lose by dying? You lose a costume. You lose a story. Yes, you will lose your name, your history, your grudges, and your grand plans. All the things that never truly defined you anyway. And what do you gain? The realization that beneath the story, you are and always were free. The weight of maintaining the illusion drops. With nothing to hold up, you can finally rest in truth. And here is the wild part. You don't have to wait until your physical death for this liberation. You can die to your ego now. Die before you die, as the old wisdom goes. Let go of the obsessive grip on who you think you are and what you think you need. Suddenly, life begins anew, right here, in the middle of your ordinary day. Try it. Close your eyes and for a moment let everything go. Imagine you have no name, no past, no future. Imagine you've already died, and this is what remains. Pure awareness, observing whatever is happening. It might feel strange, but also peaceful. That's a glimpse of what it's like to step out of your own story. It isn't the whole journey, a peek behind the curtain. Even a peek can change how you see everything. Allan offered this advice. Regard yourself as already dead, and you'll discover you have nothing to lose. A Turkish proverb echoes this: "He who sleeps on the floor cannot fall out of bed." In other words, when you've hit bottom, when you've accepted your mortality completely, you stop fearing the fall. You become untouchable in the best way. When you live as if you've got nothing to lose, a funny thing happens. You start to do what truly matters. Fear takes a back seat. You speak truths you'd otherwise bury. You take risks you once avoided. You love without grasping. You give without scheming for reward. In short, you live fully, because you are no longer trying to save a self that was doomed to end anyway. Gone are the constant anxieties about how you're perceived or what tomorrow holds. You stand on the edge of the unknown, arms open, smiling. After all, what can the world take from you that you haven't already let go of? Insults, failures, death itself? They lose their fangs. The worst has already happened in your mind. You faced the end and found it wasn't the end of you. In this fearless state, there is clarity. Life becomes more vivid, immediate. You notice beauty in the smallest things because you are not preoccupied with guarding your ego. You move through the world lightly, unchained. And here is the ironic part. When you stop worrying so much about preserving your life, you start truly living it, fully, deeply, for the first time. Understand, this freedom isn't about reckless abandon or not caring about life. Far from it. It's about caring deeply, but without desperation. It's loving life while knowing you can't lose it. Because in a way, it's not something you ever possessed to begin with. It was only ever a gift, a temporary expression of the eternal, given from nothing and returning to nothing. So step back and see the grand view. You came from nothing, and you will return to nothing. And in between, the universe is experiencing itself through you. Each moment is a chance for the universe to see itself, to know itself, through your eyes, your laugh, your tears. When your form dissolves, that experience doesn't stop. It flows into new forms. The dance continues. Look at the night sky and remember, the atoms in your body were born in stars that died eons ago. Death is woven into creation at every level. It's not the enemy, it's the reason anything exists at all. Stars explode so that new stars can form. Cells die so new cells can grow. You inhale, you exhale. There is no inhale without exhale. Death is the cosmic exhale that makes room for life's inhale. The truth can feel stark. Realizing you are not the separate permanent thing you thought can be jarring. You might feel sadness or anger at being small or at life's fragility, but there is also a profound beauty in it. Knowing this, you can appreciate the miracle of each moment even more. Nothing is owed to you, nothing is guaranteed, yet you are alive and aware. How amazing is that? This clarity is your power now. You see through the lies that society and your own fears told you. You understand that security was always an illusion. But rather than despair, you stand taller. Because when there are no false guarantees, you can finally live truthfully. You become the author of your life, not the victim. Every choice from this point on is made in freedom, not fear. The door of your cage is wide open. It always was. The ego painted prison bars in your mind, but you can walk out. If you stay, if you cling to those old bars out of habit, you will fall back into that half-life of sleepwalking. And you already know where that leads. The same frustrations, the same quiet desperation, until eventually the final sleep takes you. No more chances. But that isn't you, is it? Not anymore. You've seen what's behind the cage. You can't unsee it. And now, the open air looks so much better than those familiar bars. So step forward, even if it's uncertain, even if it's terrifying. Step into the open. This is your life, the only one like it you will get as you. Don't waste it hiding. Feel that fear one last time, then let it go. Let it die, and with it, let die the part of you that was never real. What remains will be authentic, awake, and powerful. You stand at the edge now, the edge of your old self and something new. This is where life begins, at the cliffside of the unknown, with the wind of truth on your face. Before closing, leave one sentence in the comments. Not a reaction, not a slogan. One brutally honest sentence that marks the moment you stopped lying to yourself. Disappear, live, and when you're ready, come back. I'll be waiting where I always am, on the edge where it all begins.